Hello there. Thank you so much for being part of today's edition of Eduvention here. That's as you already know, when we talk Eduvention, we talk lifestyle protocol, we talk about how you can get better in your business, in your personal life, and how you can get holistic tips right here and in the studio to do justice to this very important subject matter that we always do on Wednesday. For those who follow us, is Dr. James Komolafe. Dr. James Komolafe is a regular here, and he always gives us those very important lifestyle protocol tips. He is the senior consultant with SAPA Resources. It's wonderful to have you join us.
Good to be here on this Eduvention session and Eduvention day at Joy Asanye Life.
Yes, it's always wonderful. And you know, when we start talking about Eduvention, it seems like we can't end it because it goes on and on and on. It seems to touch every facet of your life.
Everything about my life?
About everyone's life. About everyone's life.
Everything you do in life is a composition of two variables. The learning aspect and then the doing aspect. You know, in order to do. But we're saying don't just know to do, right. Know to fix.
Right. Know to fix. That's a good place to call for a short break. We'll return after the short break to get into the program proper. We'll be discussing Eduvention properties. What does it mean? What is the properties within Eduvention? Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Eduvention, what is it? And then what are the properties of Eduvention? Like I told you earlier, that's what we'll be discussing. And in the studio is Dr. James Komolafe, Chief Consultant, SAPA Resources. Again, I thank you. But let's go straight for those who may not have followed us, explaining
from the previous
editions. I'd like us to have like a quick overview of what Eduvention is.
Well, for a while now, Joy, and especially on this platform, we've been doing Eduvention, and by Eduvention it's a combination of two classic words: education plus intervention, saying whatever you know or know how to do, you studied, you observed, you're skilled about, there's a need to translate it to a workable application. Where you can hit the ground running, solving problems, creating the intervention, and making the world a better place for us all, beginning from you, people around you, your family, your institutions, your organization, and wherever you hold stake. Eduvention is the way to go. It's no longer enough going to school. Your school should produce an impact assessment that solves problems, that creates solutions, that bring intervention to bear. So Eduvention says, hey, look out for the bad and the ugly. Don't just tell me you are the good guy out there in this institution. Don't just tell me our institution is the grade A, the first class, AA plus institution at our rating, annual rating, budget, performance, and all of that. Yes, metrics are great and good, but we want to see the impact assessment within your local network, a wide area network, and everywhere where you hold stake. We should be able to bring an Eduvention template to bear and see your real scorecard.
Your real scorecard.
Very vital.
What would the real scorecard? What would it be different from the many statistics or the other ones you mentioned?
Often your guess is good as my, Joy, You hear all kinds of statistics and all of that, which are only in numbers, figures, fact on paper, ink and paper. But Eduvention says, hey, look at the behavioral pattern. Look at the figures, personalities behind the figures. Look at procedures and processes. Look at how best optimality has been there, underscore, and so many other variables. So that you don't just come out with a paper figure work when reality has no bearing with what we see on paper. So Eduvention says, find the alignment in situ, in the organization, in the institution, and then look at the assignment out there. Are there irreconcilable differences, or do you find harmony? And when you don't find harmony, Joy, you find, of course, acrimony. And when there is acrimony, survival of the fittest. And when two elephants fight, the grass becomes the...
will suffer.
Will suffer. So Eduvention says, hey, look at yourself critically. What do you know? What can you fix with what you know? It is not the acquisition of certificate necessarily, but how well you are able to translate this into a working instrument that creates services, products, and be for the common good of society. And there are 10 elements which we call the properties of Eduvention.
Well, I think you have really glided us really to the conversation at hand today, which is the properties of Eduvention.
So Eduvention, whether I go to school or not, you are Eduventionally compliant.
Right?
Wow, you are getting
these terms are beginning to stick. So whether you go to school or not, you can be Eduventionally compliant
because there's knowledge of something upstairs. You are not just who you are by your name. You carry so many stuff within you for which will bespeak your relevance.
Exactly. And it's exciting because in the next hour, we'll be talking in-depthly into those properties you keep mentioning. I'm sure we are watering people's mouths talking about these properties.
These are the days of property. Oh, what are you
doing?
Because I'm into property.
Properties. A lot of people are into properties. And when they talk properties, they are talking about real estate.
Well, quote and unquote. Because many of them will say I'm into properties and they are only scavenging around, straying here and there, looking for what is not lost.
Right.
Putting price tag on other people's property.
But that's not what we're doing today or trying to...
We're doing the real property.
Real properties. Okay, so let's go to what those properties entail. I think we'll just go take it one after the other. We have 10 and I hope I'm able to manage time well enough.
We'll just see what we can do.
Right.
To manage a time and to show the society out there, because most of the
I glanced through all 10 subtopics of Eduvention properties, and when I saw them, every single one is worth taking the entire time discussing.
In fact, we can spend years talking the properties of Eduvention, and the first critical one is pressure. And you see, pressure is what people pray against. Make a no see fire inside where.
Right. Nobody wants that pressure.
Nobody wants pressure.
Right.
Joy, pressure is precious.
Pressure is precious. And I want to absorb this now.
In the school of Eduvention.
So pressure is a precious treasure in Eduvention.
Yes.
So we shouldn't run away from this pressure.
No, that's why it's unique to everyone. And it offers the bottom line. Pressure.
Okay.
Look at it. You know mango. No, let's use orange. You take an orange, you peel the back with a smile and lacerate it or cut it with a knife. What comes out?
The juice.
What juice?
The orange juice.
The orange juice.
But you had to go through all of that.
Just wait a little. Just wait a little. Now, you take the same orange, Joy, under a very temperamental fit, and you haul it at a wall. What comes out of it?
Same juice.
What juice?
The orange juice.
The orange juice. At some other point, you felt, wow, I must really deal with this orange today. To tell this orange that what could be behind 6 can be more than 7 at times. And you pick that same orange and you drop it for a grader or caterpillar to just walk over. What comes out of it?
Orange juice.
So, no matter the conditions, the situations of the career, when you are pressed, whatever you contain comes out.
Whatever you contain.
Yes. So whatever is inside you is what comes out what you are pressed. So out there, when you are pressed, pressure is applied. Whatever comes out of you is what you carry, and is an incentive, never a liability.
It's an incentive.
Yes.
I want to understand. There are 2 questions I have. Maybe I should take it one at a time. Still talking about pressure.
Pressure.
Right. When you say
critical element of Eduvention.
It should be an incentive.
Yes.
At what point, first of all, can it be used in the right way? Because I've heard several people say
it has to start from your mind.
Yes, but where I'm going is
your mind is your might.
A lot of people will say, "I'm sorry, I did this because I was under pressure."
Okay, that's another different thing. But we are saying what comes to you as a person. If you must eke out what is inside you by virtue of knowledge, by virtue of who you are and what you contain. Real education is no longer about Masaka Kamusa, the history of Thomas, whatever, Malthusian theory and all of that. It's you knowing something to fix something on ground,
right?
Presently, making sure what you know now translate to solution. So, pressure has a way of spilling up what you carry. So, it's a common denominator for all living that you must go through pressure.
Right.
Minimum pressure. But in this side of our world, you want to see pressure, you want to run away. You want to look the other way, and you are looking for who solves your problem. Anytime you pray and you go through pressure, it is simply because some certain kind of force must be applied to you, to agitate you, to move you. And when you are pressed like a sponge, whatever the sponge carries comes out.
So how do we ensure that what comes out is indeed orange juice, pleasant orange juice?
It's a natural consequence. You have a ripe orange, you pluck it, whenever you press it is the content that will come out.
Yes, so but how do we ensure ensuring that yeah. Because I've seen people under pressure, minimal pressure even. I mean, we all have our own.
The more the pressure, the better your package.
That comes out. That ideally,
all things being equal.
All things being equal.
Yes.
But a lot of people are at their worst over the smallest pressure. Should they come to work having gone through the morning rigors of transportation, they are already destabilized. You see them very edgy.
Every day is a behavioral variable where you are subjected and subservient to 3 cases: the good, the bad, and the ugly. So as a behaviorist or as an individual, of course everyone is a behaviorist, whether you know it or not,
of course,
because you are a human being
and
possessing some certain
right.
properties within you, and you exhibit some certain expression for the which you want to find alignment for your daily assignment. So what are we saying, eduventionally speaking? Know yourself. And in knowing yourself, you are very factual about it. You are real about who you are, your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threat. So you should thank pressure for coming around your space, because when you are pressed from the outside, what is inside
will come
out. Then you can profile to say, okay, this is my good aspect, this is my bad, and this is my ugly. And if you find yourself on the bad and the ugly most of the time, then you need an eduventional intervention. And we do that in Saba Resources. All we do is to engage our 3E model of behavior modification. E, the first one, exploration. We dig deep into you. The second E is we express what is being seen, having dug into you. And the third is that we're going to establish you in the right order, so that from the within to the without you can find harmony with yourself. That is the alignment we are talking about, so that when next you are pressed, wow, the good virtues of yours and value comes out, not the vices.
Well, I'm excited because what comes out can still be analyzed.
Yes.
To know you, then you need an Eduvention intervention.
Everybody is screwed within. So pressure has a way of purifying you, packaging you, positioning you for production on the outside. So pressure, please celebrate your moment of pressure. I don't say you should pray, let there be pressure. No, no, no. Life itself is a pressure. Every day. And you say you wake, you sleep. At times, it will be as if weekend should just be 7 days. Most people hate Monday morning.
It's Monday again.
It's Monday again. How many people love Friday? Wow, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Lazy people. Yeah, well, there's a place for fun in Eduvention. But what we are saying is, please, every time you want to engage on a critical note, the first thing that greets you is opposition. And that opposition will come through the framework of pressure.
Right.
And
I
each
need
man's
to say
pressure
that
differs.
again. Every time you want to improve, is that the word you use?
Every time you want to engage on something meaningful,
yes,
you'll be greeted with opposition.
Right.
A baptism from pressure, if I may say. Pressure has a way of baptizing you into an opposition. You want to leave your bed, you just feel like not leaving bed.
Right.
Meanwhile, you want
you also want the good things of life, right?
Good things of life.
So you have to give one for the other.
You have to give one. You have to do a trade-off. Do I stay in bed or go out? You know, if you don't go out, some things may not come to the pocket. And hunger in this our climb is a postgraduate course.
Right. Everybody is.
It's a core course. Hunger 807.
807.
It's not a undergraduate course. So
would you call hunger pressure then?
Yes, it's a kind of pressure from the within.
Right.
But we're saying life is pressure in itself. You must be able to locate and collocate your arena with the pressure that is around, so that the pleasure can come out. So in fact, joy, there can be no pleasure without pressure going ahead. So pressure is like
always waiting.
Pressure that will go before pleasure comes. So you don't want to go through the pains. Sorry, the game may not just come. So wishes by horses, all men will ride.
Right. Embrace the pain.
Embrace the pain to get the gain.
And to get the gain.
Eduvention
as some sort of springboard.
Yes.
As a springboard to get the gain. Right.
You can't but must appreciate the place of pain in Eduvention. Because if there is no pressure, just a little bit, what is inside remains stationary. Right. And an object will not move until there is what? An application of pressure from the outside. So that little push is that takes you, dislocate, translocate, and postlocate you, if there's any grammar like that.
Well, on this program, you have the writer's prerogative or the speaker's prerogative here.
You have to be shifted if you don't want to be drifted.
You have to be shifted.
Yes, and Eduvention property says pressure has the capacity and the authority, including the audacity, to move you from one point to another. So that is the first.
That is the first one, property. That is pressure, and you have really broken it down for us. Before we move to the next one, what really struck me was do not embrace pressure. Do not fear pressure.
Don't fear it, because it's a friend.
It's a friend that will lead you to the gain. So let's go to the next.
The next one is
potential.
You see, as soon as pressure is applied on the outside, what it agitates or activates within you is called potential. That is your seed value.
Right.
That is your natural state of equilibrium for a response to external pressure. So when you are pressed on the outside, the first thing necessarily, I'm sorry to differ, it's not prayer. It's to look within, to say, wow. Maybe that's why even Bible says, watch, and then what? Pray. It didn't say pray and watch, because when pressure is applied and you watch, you can say, wow, look at the good me, the bad me, and the ugly me. Then you need a therapist, you need an Eduvention coach, not just a motivation coach and all of that. Or it can happen, repeat this 50 times. When your emotion settles down, you bounce back to your former status quo ante.
And that does not solve much.
That doesn't solve no problem. Eduvention says, please do intervention. Know what is bad, how to get rid of that on a permanent dictum, and then celebrate what is good. So potential is the second property. It says you are not empty, but you are loaded and coded.
You are loaded and coded.
So we use Eduvention principle and practice to download you and to decode you to yourself and to your world. Potential, energies within you, capacity within that organization to become more. So Eduvention is about the individual, the family unit, the institutions, the organizations, and governance. There's nowhere you don't apply Eduvention principles and practice. When you put it aside, I'm sorry, you are doing something else. You are not real. You are not factual. You are only cosmetic, ephemeral, and never been able to dig deep into what obtains in order to solve problems. Deep problems are not solved by surface answers. You go deep.
Deep surface, deep response.
Right. And also by surface answers. So Eduvention says, please dig deep and bring out the sharp solutions, not the surface solutions, small tilapia, tadpole on the surface. There are to the sharks. And sharks don't fraternize on the surface. Go deep. Meet them at their own ecosystem and engage them. Then you bring them out to solve massive problems. So Eduvention is not about physical size, but the sight you have over your content. Potentially speaking.
Potentially speaking.
Very vital. So what do you have? And usually, potentials is not a massive structure.
Right.
Just a tiny bit, a specimen, a trigger, like a dynamo. Little dynamite, put it inside the hard rock. Big, massive rock.
It will blast it.
It will blast it all at once.
But my question would be, okay, so this pressure happens, and then
people are stranded. They don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Because they are eventually ignorant.
And it presents a time to know that this is your potential. You know, that it's giving you an opportunity to know. How then do you identify?
Everyone
without having an external person say, this pressure has only exposed this potential. Can our viewers who are watching us know that when this pressure happens, look within, and how do you identify the potentials within?
Educationally speaking, Joy, every serious guy, organization, institution out there need an Eduvention coach, Eduvention consultant. Now, in one of our frameworks and beats, Institute of Behavioral Alignment of Nigeria, IOBAN, you know what we do? We are telling consultants, stop just talking theories of Western climes, packages of America, Asia,
which is often what we say.
And then you just give us what cannot work in our own climate. So Eduvention says, look at us critically, solve our local problem. You can borrow foreign framework and technology, but let it be relatable here and solve problem here, not a different climb for a solution that will not just fit in. So Eduvention says, please do it our own way, use our own resources, create resourcefulness for us through that, and solve problems. So potential matters.
Potential.
It matters a whole lot. That is the seed offering you give as a donation to what? Pressure.
Yes.
Every pressure is asking you for a seed for contribution. So that when you are pressed, the seed value inside you comes to the field to play, and to play well. So the third property of Eduvention is platform.
Platforms.
That's where your seed becomes relevant. Whatever you know to do, there's always a platform for it. You go look for the platform. Identify your seed. Do you know grape or apple may not grow everywhere in Nigeria, no matter how rich the soil.
Soil may be, right?
Maybe. So find
the soil that fits.
The soil that fits your seed. Otherwise, your seed will remain in your hand.
However viable it may be.
No matter how viable and hybrid. Once it is not eduventionally cultured.
To identify the platform.
To identify the platform, it's a waste eventually. And so you see so many first class graduates carrying certificates. Oh, I have first class. I made second class upper. And you are an ignoble in the school of Eduvention.
Not solving societal problems.
Not solving societal problems. Not being able to leapfrog with your certificate. I'm sorry. Eduvention says you are backward. So bring your certificate and let it be eduventionally processed, so that you can see the amalgamation between your certificate and the seed content of your life. It is then you can hit the ground running, solving problems on the appropriate platforms.
On the appropriate platforms.
It's not all platforms that are your platform. Now put me on a football pitch to play.
You might just slip and fall in
my team will fail woefully. because
you single-handedly ensure they fail. You won't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. I won't play my part. Put me on where now? Give me a guitar for music and say, doctor, and you know I've been learning to play guitar since 1986. Up till now, I don't know how to play guitar.
Okay, that's story for another time. Because I'm not sure why you will not have got to any better. 1986 is a long time.
Because you say my passionate appeal and the content of my seed differs. Right. So why will I have to struggle in an area where I am not? Right. It's not innate. Passion without the potential within is problem.
It's problem. I need you to say that again. Passion without
the potential within.
Right.
It's problems.
Without
and within. Because it will convolute your whole procedure and you are just blank.
Right.
That's blank. So platform.
Find your platform.
Find your platform. Can you see Joy Asonye? Don't you like Joy Asonye live every Wednesday? She is eduventionally compliant. Exactly. And she's coming to your institution to see your books, to see behavior, brands, and to put Eduvention there. So you see, we're good in our field and best version of ourselves when we find our platform. A platter that is formed. When you donate your seed there, wow, it becomes a natural consequence to find yield.
Right.
And what is that yield?
I would rather, before you go further, I would just like to ask a question that I'm just supposing a lot of people watching would say.
Yes.
If we have to be relatable with our situation and circumstance right now, would you say that the problems Nigeria is facing, economic challenges here and there,
the answers are right here.
The answers are right here.
Yes.
Can young people who probably, like we gave that illustration of young people who would have gotten one certificate or the other, would they find answers and their platforms right here? Are they available?
Definitely. You heard of CNG. I'm not advertising for CNG.
That's the combustion natural gas.
The mother of invention. Fuel PMS price
is high,
overboard and everything, and suddenly CNG came to change the morphology and whatever of your car from PMS to what? Gas. In the same manner, your certificate needs to be profiled. It's not enough going to school and having a first class. How do you even get the first class? Garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
You want to ask me what I studied in my first degree and some of those principles were taught now, I mean, have forgotten. But and the issue is
some of them are not even relevant.
They are not relevant. What is the relevance now? Eduvention talks about present, your present moment, your capacity to exude presence,
Right.
giving who you are, what you know, and what you can fix with what you know.
Okay, Dr. James Komolafe, it's time to go for a short break so that everyone can have a breather. We've packed so much, speaking about pressure, potential, and platforms. We'll return with so much more as Dr. James is still right here talking about Eduvention. We'll be back shortly.
While wrapping up the day, unwind with the reminiscence of the day's news from home and abroad with Kaftan TV 7 p.m. news.
Good to have you join us on Kaftan News at 7.
Nigerians are living in up to 5%. Our young people repurpose the Harmony Symphony.
It's good to have you join us on Kaftan TV News at 7.
We found that this 10 naira card is not actually sufficient.
National, foreign news headlines. Get balanced, accurate facts on the latest news in business, politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Live from our studios.
Many thanks for watching and join us again at 9
Kaftan
p.m.
TV News.
Yes, there is news on your device, but hearing an analyst's perspective is the icing on the cake.
Welcome back from that very short break. Like I told you, if you are just joining us, we've been discussing Eduvention. It's Wednesday, so you already know we have Dr. James Komolafe right here in the studio. Although we've gone through 4 of the Eduvention properties, talking about pressure, talking about platform potentials, and then platforms. Now we are taking it to the next property within Eduvention. Dr. James Komolafe, what is next after going through this pressure and potential and then finding your platform? One would think that would be the apex.
That is just about halfway to the show.
Oh, really?
Because you see, life is actually step by step. Even the songwriter says step by step we go into heaven.
Right.
You want to climb a 3rd or 4th story and you are not using the skyscraper, what do you climb?
The steps.
One after the other. So when pressure comes in, it presses out your potential. And then potential presses out the platform where you fit
You will
in.
thrive, right.
Where you will thrive. When what is inside does not come out, you are your own.
Exactly.
So that underscores the need for platform. And when you get to your platform, as a seed you get planted for an organization, institution, individual, and whatever you have proceeds. That's the yield. It becomes natural. You just yield, irrespective of the condition. Your seed carries your conviction, and conviction is so powerful in every seed that whether you plant it in the day time or even time or midnight hour, what happens? It will grow out
and blossom.
So the process of necessity come in form of yields, harvest, and all that you need, and then you can use this process to engage and confront your problems.
That is now moving to number 5
Number
of
5
the properties, problems, right.
So problem is no longer a disadvantage. I'm praying. In fact, I'm going to fast. No problem this year. Your poverty will increase.
That is if you don't have problems.
If you don't have problems, because problem must agitate you to get to your place of best fit.
Right.
Where you function well in your best version. So problems are good.
Problems are good.
Problems are good.
Let
There's
them
the
come.
other good side of problems that you don't need to just deny and ignore. Oh, because you have faith, you just deny it doesn't exist. And problem says, I'm here for you.
And I'm always going to be here because problems are bound.
You solve one,
Another
one comes to the fore to say, hey, you can climb higher.
Just keep solving.
Just keep solving. Do you know, Joe, when you want to climb up the stairs and you are going to the 4th story and you are not going to use skyscraper, what happens?
Your thighs will hurt.
Your thighs will hurt. You start gasping, but you are ascending and mounting. That's how problem is.
You just keep at it.
You keep at it. You keep on keeping on until you get to your zenith. So that's why Eduvention says, hey, where are you going? How do you get there? And then keep the track of what happens along the way, because you need the experience. You need the experiment to generate a new list of expectations.
Right. But before, I have a question. When you talk about problems, at what point is it overwhelming? When I see people get these problems and they let it go and they just sit back and say, this one is overwhelming, I cannot stand this. So at what point is it overwhelming?
It's still about your perspective. Some people see problem as opposition. Oh, this is enemy. And they fight it to a halt. What you don't admire don't get attracted to you, and you will never be able to distill the content. So you see, when you have problems, the first thing to do, in fact, cascade it on. There's an Eduvention compliant, a compliant module called idea method. Maybe one day.
Okay, that they will do discuss.
I is identify what the problem is. D, define it. E, evaluate the problem. And A, administer the solution based on the previous substances. So when you use idea method, for example, it has the capacity to show you which problem is you can handle now on your own, and the one you cannot handle now,
right.
The one you will need another hand, extra hand.
Oh, there is the
leverages,
right,
of course. You need linkages, you need network, you need leverages here and there when you have problems. Because the problems are in shapes and in sizes. Look at your size, for example. If you now put a problem that is like a house of this nature,
I will just crumble.
You just crumble. So you see, there are places for leverages, opportunities for networking. You borrow other people's idea, resources, you network, you collaborate, and all of that. There is a place for it in Eduvention. But where you are greedy, you are mean, you are just on your own, you remain a small
you want to do it on your own.
You want to do it on your own, your neck will break. When you are stiff neck, you are writing application to a breaking of a neck. So don't get to do it all alone. So admire problems when they come. That's not to say you go about looking for problems. You may get the wrong one eventually, which is never your size.
But you just said embrace problems.
Yes, when it comes to you on
right.
a natural consequence, it's always your size.
Okay.
But when you go out looking for problems,
you might pick
the oversized one.
Okay, that's a good one. Don't go out looking for problems and show.
But when they come to you, do something about it.
It's often when it comes to you, it's often your size. I like that. It's often your size.
Just
within your means to solve.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now that we've talked about problems, let's quickly go to the next property.
The sixth property of Eduvention is called prospect.
Right.
What can you see ahead? Don't just denominate everything with just now. You've solved problems. There are proceeds for you. How do you apply and engage with what you have on ground to create a near future? So they don't just live based on today.
Right.
And that's a place of vision.
Right.
No vision, no provision. And where there's no provision, no production. So you need to prospect. You need to see the bigger picture reality, we call it in Eduvention. You need to be able to say, okay, what next from here? Because life is, like I told you, is a stepwise aggregation.
Right.
Step by step. As you go to heaven step by step, so on earth too. You must
do your work
step by step and be orderly. So there's a place for sequence for the right consequences. So very vital. Please, what are your prospects? What are you anticipating? What are you planning and working towards?
Right.
As you solve
So there
problems,
must be a vision.
there must be a vision on ground that powers your emotion and energizes your passion and activates your action.
Right.
These are all eduventionally
Eduventional terms, right?
that you need to just do what you need to do and to get results.
So
prospect is critical.
Prospect is critical. However, is it a must that if you've gotten the pressures, you've identified the potentials, you also identified the platforms and the proceeds and the problems
are coming.
Now, is it a sure thing that when you get to prospects,
Yes.
When you find the problems and you face your problems, the prospects are going to be clear to you?
You see, Joy, that's where many people buy the dust. They say, okay, now I have the process.
Yes,
let me solve
the problems, right?
And once the problems are solved, they sit down. They get stuck. Organizations find themselves in that lacuna. And that's where they have staff turnover. Things are not working well. They put in more resources, but they harvest less. They don't achieve optimality anymore. That's why we go into organizations, we go into their workspace, we look at their capacity building metrics and method, we look at their capability model, and to say, hey, let's reinvent. Let's look at the way you do it. Let's recreate. Let's re-innovate. Let's innovate with you. So very vital, you create prospect because you know with every problem you solve comes a higher one. And if you don't shift your game and your goalpost,
that's where you will just always
you sink.
Right.
If you always be, it's even better,
good.
but you go down. It's like riding a bicycle.
If you are going, you'll be going backwards.
Once you stop pedaling the bicycle, what happens?
You go backwards. You are at the mercy of the
until you come to a complete halt. So, prospect is critical.
You must have a vision. That's what I got from prospect.
Yes,
have a vision. See the future in what you're doing.
Yes, and that will give you your bigger picture, reality, a better version of yourself. So
with that, what is the next property, the Eduvention?
After prospect, of course, you need a process. How do you get it done? And that's where mission statement comes in. Keep track of your mission. Organizations collapse in our day. Not only human beings collapse now. Even organizations are shutting down. Why? Because of deficit in their procedures and processes. Don't play sentiment. Let professionalism, ethic observance be your rule of the game. Keep at it.
Keep at it.
Very vital. The process on ground, you see, like automation. You put in this, you're expecting that at the other end. Don't break process. Don't break protocols. Just do it the way it should be so that you get the result.
That's to say you have to learn the process as well.
You have to learn the process, grow people through the process. Let nobody do shunting. Shunting is a behavioral violation in Eduvention.
That's shunting is trying to jump
of those steps.
One of those steps.
So leave him, is my brother. Don't worry, we'll sort it out. And then you are breaking the steps. Just because it's your brother. You are giving it to sentiment instead of professionalism and ethical reasoning. So very vital. Procedure must be followed.
Procedures
no
must be followed.
matter whose ox is God. What is good for the goose should also be good
for the
for the gander.
Okay.
That is process. And number 8 is pattern. You have process within, pattern of doing things without. Imagery is critical. Reputation is critical. Don't be left and right. If you don't stand up for something, you fall for everything.
Right.
So Eduvention says, what is your pattern? What do we know you with? Your brand is classic because you have always stuck to who you are and for what you believe and have come to adopt. So we are singing your
songs, right?
In Cyber Resources Eduvention mantra, we must check up how from the neck up in order to be sure you are good neck down. And when you are good neck down, you will be great
leg forward. That's a good one. Okay, so when you find the pattern,
of course, production comes in. And when you produce, you have the goods, you have the services. You can do backward and forward integration.
Right.
You can serve many people and on many platforms. You become a multifaceted, multi-user environmentalist. Why? Because you pass through all the processes and protocols, and you are natural in your organization. You are natural in your own state, and everything works out very seamlessly for everybody to see. That is the 21st century organization we are looking forward to. And only Eduvention culture can batch this. The where people do all kinds of things, mumbo jumbo figures, just to satisfy the cravings of the society. You see, you are Eduventionally incongruence,
right.
Not complying, and therefore so many things goes the wrong order within that will eventually shoot outside. So production is critical.
Production
you
is
do
critical.
Value creation. Innovative thinking comes out, technology, and a whole gamut of digital space is
everything
explored.
that brings about improvement.
So
the product is not stagnant. You don't end that product,
people,
right.
And everything scales up. You are able to reinvent yourself. People see new lease of life. The workers are happy. Everybody is happy. Why? Because you have embraced the culture of Eduvention, your productive capacity. And you see, one good thing about Eduventionally cultured organization or institution is the fact that instead of just having increase, you enjoy duplication, multiplication of outcomes.
But of course, you have to follow this
on a seamless note as you follow all this track. It's a trajectory that delivers seamlessly to the organization, to the staff, and everybody is happy for it. It's a very good thing to practice Eduvention in your culture. As a culture in your organization, as a framework, it works everywhere and all the time because it has no biases to creed, to race, to religion, to culture. It simply says, hey, 1 + 1 is 2 in North America.
It's always going to be 2 in Africa.
And it will be 2 in Black Africa.
And Asia.
Asia, Australia. And you get the result. That is it. And last but not the least is the package.
Package, right.
Eduvention property is a package that is admissible anywhere, that is sellable, that is marketable, that is great any day. It's a package. People will love to buy, people will love to enjoy, people will love to pick at any price. Valuable package. Why? Because it has passed through the crucibles of all the properties and come out so cute, hitting the ground running. So it's a package that is attractive, that is sellable, that is scalable, and that can be for other uses. So it is multi-purpose, and the package itself is very holistic, and it has so many ingredients attached to it that can even help some other organizations as their own input. So it's multifaceted in nature. So you will want to be Eduventionally compliant. Take all these properties and build a framework, Joy Asonye Life, in collaboration with Cyber Resources, is helping organization and donating this critical competency to your organization in order to engage you and to scale up your organization on a better footing.
Exactly.
And I think you should just speak to us. Take my number 08035 999 220.
You might have to say that number again,
And
this time maybe
request for-
slowly, so that
Okay.
everybody can catch it.
Because you see, it's not just talk. We have frameworks. We have reality checks. We have all kinds of globally compliant operational framework we want to donate to your organization. So what's the number? 080 35 999 220. That's my personal number. So just request for Eduvention Properties template. We'll send you one and then that kickstart the engagement. You need it now. You're looking for long-term sustainability of your company processes and procedure. Even church needs it. The mosque need it. Any organization where you have human being, you need Eduvention, because you see, behavior is 80%. Practice is just 20%. So to engage all kinds of people needs and require sameness of a template, so as to get the best from people across board. So the earlier the better. You get Eduventionally savvy and be update. It's 999 0035 999 999 220. That's the number. Dr. James Komolafe is the name, and I am a forensic psychometrician at the School of Articulation and Behavioral Alignment Resources, where we check individuals, homes, organizations, networks, associations, neck up. To be sure you are good,
Neck down.
And when you are good, neck down, you'll be good to great.
Leg forward.
Leg forward.
Dr. James
You move
Komolafe,
forward.
thank you so much for being part of this, and once again, telling our guests and sharing these very important lifestyle protocol tips. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Eduvention with Joy Asonye Live. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, for more, but not to mention Joy Asonye